JJ,
That.
welcome back to Breakdown. Today is Wednesday, February 18th, 2025.
Less than a week away.
A week away?
Yeah, for someone's birthday, huh?
Uh, you know what? We are football season is over, basketball season is in full swing. But let's break our normal tradition because normally we talk SEC, Big Ten, and we're still going to basically talk SEC and Big Ten. But I want you to tell me about that Super Bowl, JJ.
Yes, Super Bowl.
What you think?
Had a myriad of SEC and Big Ten players, specifically SEC.
Okay.
I think, I've never seen anyone do that to Patrick Mahomes. He looked more than mortal. He looked very bad. He did some stat padding in the fourth quarter when the game was out of reach, and his numbers ended up looking a little bit respectable. But he threw a pick six. He threw another pick that led to a touchdown.
Yes, he did.
He looked horrible, and that was a lot. That had a lot to do with former SEC players, Georgia Bulldogs in particular. Jalen Carter was an animal in the backfield. They did not have N'Kobe Dean. He was out. He was injured.
Okay.
But they had plenty of. Devontae Smith became the first Alabama position player to score in the Super Bowl. He scored a touchdown from a former Alabama player in Jalen Hurts who threw it. And now he's a former Oklahoma player, which I was about to say was in the Big 12, but that's in the SEC now. So
that's true.
He's a SEC two times over. So yeah,
and he was very impressive. Philly's defense
Super Bowl MVP.
Philly's defense was very impressive. Don't you kind of hate the football season is over?
I do, but at the same time, that was the longest college football season of my lifetime. So I'm ready to transition and pivot, as they say, to basketball.
Well, let's go basketball. SEC or Big Ten first?
Ooh, do you want to do the best conference in sports, or do we want to do the SEC?
Let's do the SEC first.
Yeah, okay, let's do the best conference.
Last week, JJ, number one played number two down in Alabama.
That was the first time in the SEC history that both of the teams were 1-2. Now, Bruce Pearl is no stranger to a 1-2 matchup while coaching SEC school, but that was against a Conference USA school at the time.
No. I thought it was against a Atlantic Coast. What was it? What had been Bruce Pearl with Tennessee? They were number two.
And they played Memphis.
They played Memphis
from John Calipari's Memphis was number one.
Okay, my bad. And they won.
They did win because the last 5 times the number two played a number one, the number two team won until this time.
Except this time.
Yeah.
Alabama and Auburn. Would you have ever thought we'd be talking basketball and saying 1 against 2?
Well, both of those schools had disappointing football seasons for their sakes. I mean, Auburn. Did they make bowl eligibility? I don't think they became bowl eligible.
I think they did. It was the year before they didn't. They were not bowl eligible, I believe.
Okay, well maybe they did, but if they did, they got it by the skin of their teeth. But I mean,
I could be wrong, but I was thinking.
I don't remember who they played. I don't remember if they won or they lost, but.
You may be right.
Alabama.
The bowl season isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Given.
And Alabama couldn't make a 12-team playoff. A 12-team playoff. So, they're basketball schools now.
They are. How good are they in basketball, JJ? Both those teams.
Oh, they're very, 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 very good. And you know why?
Why?
Because of the coaches. The SEC invested a lot of money in their coaching, and it has borne fruit.
Okay.
You can see it You can see it all around the conference, but that is very much true in the. Are they the Magnolia State?
No, that's Mississippi.
Okay, I get those states confused.
So, go ahead.
In Alabama, whatever state they are.
Okay, now you tell me that it's because of coaching. Does the player have anything to do with it?
Absolutely. The NIL budget is not too shabby in some of those schools. There's a school in Fayetteville that paid quite a bit for its roster.
Well, let's talk about the good teams, right? Let's talk about the good teams.
Yeah, no. Basically, the SEC is willing to spend. They are willing to spend on their college football coaches, their college basketball coaches, their women's college basketball coaches, and their baseball coaches. And they are successful in football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, and baseball.
Well, the women's basketball is taking a big hit this year. But back to the men's basketball, JJ.
Can only reign for so long.
Alabama. Who else in the SEC is a formidable basketball power
The
right now.
number 2
right
team
now.
in the country.
Number 2 in the country. Are we talking Kentucky? No, we're not talking Kentucky. Who would be number 2 in the country?
Well, it'd be a school that has DJ Lagway at quarterback, but we're not talking about football, so let's pivot to the Florida Gators.
The Gators. JJ, they were not even ranked preseason.
Yeah,
How
even
could
though
they be number 2?
because they had Walter Clayton Jr. return, they had a very underrated coach, and they had a lot of talent on the wing.
Are they really that good, JJ?
It's an interesting year in college basketball. I don't know if they're the second best team in the country, but they are very, very, very good. I think they're a top 5 team.
You know what? When it comes to basketball, SEC is pretty much dominating a lot.
Some people think
Duke.
Well, yeah, Duke isn't an addition. Some people think the SEC is the best conference that's ever been in college basketball. But yeah, Duke is killing it right now. They have the other person vying for National Player of the Year in Cooper Flagg, the 17. I think he might have just turned 18-year-old freshman, the future number 1 pick for the NBA draft. Obviously, the other person that's in contention is Janai Broome from Auburn.
Okay.
We'll see if what happens with his injury. How many games did Janai Broome have to miss? 3, 4?
In that neighborhood.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
He didn't miss like half a season. He didn't miss a whole lot. And he played kind of injured. He kind of re-injured his ankle Saturday against Alabama, but he continued to play.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a serious injury. But JJ, I want to talk. I can't remember. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. The Big Ten sent I think 9 or 10 teams to the tournament, and they looked ugly in the tournament.
Yeah, they did not do well.
What are the odds of that happening with the SEC this year?
I don't know. Whatever the odds are, it doesn't even matter when it comes to the NCAA tournament. It does not matter. It's my favorite event in sports for a reason. You cannot predict it. It will be random.
Okay.
But I don't think it will be that bad because if for no other reason than the fact that SEC will have significantly more teams.
Okay. Well, let's go to the Big Ten, JJ.
All right, let's pivot to let's go north.
The Big Ten. What are the top 3 teams in the Big Ten right now?
Top 3 teams in the Big Ten right now.
Right now, yes, sir.
You asked me a week ago, Purdue would have been in there, but I'm not even sure if they qualify at this point.
They're number 3 right now.
I do know there are 2 teams from Michigan that occupy the top 2 spots, though.
What 2 teams are those? Michigan State and who else?
The number 1 team in the conference,
Michigan,
which would be
Michigan State and who else?
the number 1 team in the conference.
Michigan State?
No, we know who the number 1 team in the conference is. You just say that, except for take off the second word and just say the first one.
I don't know if my mouth will let me say those things. So tell me about these teams, JJ.
Yeah.
They play each other this coming Friday.
Yeah, they do. For the first time this season.
Yep, and they end the regular season against each other. Point spread is not out for that game yet. Who's the better team, JJ?
Who's the better team? Is it the 30-year coach who has the last Big Ten team to win the championship a quarter of a century ago now at this point?
Or the new Big Ten coach?
Yeah, the coach that's been there for one year, all of one half a year, and is leading the conference with a transfer from Yale, who's positioning himself to enter the lottery conversation. He's definitely a first rounder at this point, and he might be a lottery player. So, a 7-foot point guard in the Jokic mold.
7-foot point guard. Magic Johnson will be happy to hear you say that.
Well, unfortunately, he plays for the school in Ann Arbor.
That's true.
So he might not be that happy, but he is a fun player to watch.
How good is Michigan? is ranked number 12 in the country, and Michigan State's ranked number 14 in the country.
Yeah.
How good is Michigan, JJ? Coming in, they were neither one of these teams were preseason ranked. Excuse me.
Yeah, Michigan has played in a number of one-possession games. They've won some, they've lost others. They lost to Arkansas and Oklahoma, but they've won, I think, 5 straight single-digit games. Or it might have been 5 straight one-possession games. I can't remember. But, they've been able to navigate incredibly muddy waters really well as of late. And at the same time, Michigan State was going through a skid. They, had lost 3 out of 4. And, just looked like they had lost their way a bit. But, it's still incredibly early. It's not incredibly early, but it's still very, very early in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
And Michigan looks good and Michigan State look good too.
As we said, these two teams have not played as of yet. With Michigan State, we got Jaden Akins, Jace Richardson, uh, Fears. Who's the person on Michigan State? Who's the straw that stirs that team? And I left out their big men.
Yeah, so Cohen Carr, I think that Cohen Carr is the X factor. I think
Okay.
offensively, he is the X factor. I think he is someone that you have to account for whenever he's near the rim. You have to box him out, or else you'll end up on a poster. Cohen Carr is very, very dangerous and very dangerous in transition, which Michigan State has been excellent in because of Jeremy Fears. But defensively, I think the unsung hero has been Carson Cooper. I think he has his basketball IQ. I think this has been like a quintessential Izzo masterclass as it pertains to his development of big men when you watch Carson Cooper play defense and just his anticipation and he just knows where to be and when to be there. I think a lot of things that he does, he might box somebody out so somebody else can get a rebound. It might not show up in the box score, but he does a lot of things that add up to winning, and I think that he's a humongous reason that they are in the position that they are.
Michigan State, JJ, typically is known for their point guard play as being the straw that stirs them. Are you telling me this year that's not the case?
That hasn't been the case in a while.
Okay.
Last time it was the case was when Cassius Winston.
What about last year?
Yeah, you know what? You know what? I don't want to undersell Tyson Walker. I don't want to undersell Tyson Walker. He. I mean, to me, he's an undersized scoring guard, but okay, yeah, he did play point guard, and I don't want to undersell him.
Without a doubt, the forces for the Wolverines. What are the two primary forces for the Wolverines this year? And you mentioned one of them already.
Well, I mean the two bigs. I mean that pick and roll, the 7 foot to 7 foot pick and roll has been really, really difficult to guard. I mean, Danny Wolf can see over the top of pretty much anybody smaller that you put on top of him. So if you want to put like a more mobile guy, try to anticipate better and try to beat him to the spot. Okay, like he had better do that, because if he doesn't do that, Danny Wolf will be able to see over top, and he's an excellent passer. And I can't pronounce the name of the guy, the foreign
the other big guy.
Yeah, transfer from FAU, and yeah, he's an excellent finisher.
JJ, how does Michigan State match up with their big men, and how does Michigan match up with Michigan State's guards?
Yeah, I mean, for Michigan State to match up with their big men, I think Carson Cooper is going to have to play a lot of the game. I think Jackson Cole is going to have to play very smart. He has been knocking down the three. As of late, Michigan State has struggled to shoot the three, and they have struggled to make the three. They have not attempted many threes, and when they attempt them, they don't go in. But he has had games where he's made three pointers, 2 3-pointers. He's been pivotal and imperative to their efforts in stretching the floor. So he'll have to be able to do that. They'll have to. So will Booker.
Xavier Booker.
He's gonna have to be able to step out and make the three. He's gonna have to. He's gonna have to not get play off the court because of his frail size.
What about point guard play? Point guard play is usually big in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Fears doesn't really puts a lot of pressure on the opposing defense, in that he sets guys up. He knows where to find Trey Holloman, where to find guys moving and cutting in space. He's very good at that, but he doesn't put a lot of pressure on teams to score. And, when it comes to the pick and roll, Michigan will go under the screen every single time and give him the opportunity to shoot that three, because he has not proven that he can hit it consistently. So I don't know. It's
well, before we move on, JJ, I want 2 things. I want you to give me if you were setting the spread, what would you set the spread to be?
Well, where's the game going to be played at?
Ann
Arbor, Michigan. What's the team in first place?
I can't say that name, man.
Michigan Wolverines.
Is it Michigan State?
I would take Michigan to be a 3-point favorite at home.
Okay. Now, who you take the win outright?
To me, I think it depends on which Jace Richardson comes to play. If he can show up in a hostile environment, one of the most hostile environments he'll play in all season. If he can show up and do what he's done, the other times his number's been called, you can get 20 points or something close to that. I think Michigan State wins, but if he looks like a freshman and in the first time and the biggest rival that rivalry game that he's in on the road, if that's a little more overwhelming than anything he's experienced, and lights get too bright for him, I like Michigan.
Okay, I'm going to Michigan State.
Oh, surprise!
Go green. JJ, let's talk Tom Izzo.
Let's talk about Tom Izzo.
How old is Tom Izzo?
70.
70 years old. Turned 70 January 30th. He also broke Bobby Knight's Big Ten win record.
He did not do that in against Indiana. But
that was here in East Lansing.
But against Indiana.
I know. But Tom Izzo's first Big Ten win of his career was against Bobby Knight. Tom Izzo is 5-4 against Bobby Knight. They overlapped from 95 to 2000. They were both coaching, and Tom Izzo is 5-4. JJ, let's talk. Who's the better coach historically, Bobby Knight or Tom Izzo? Izzo just broke Bobby Knight's record.
Bobby Knight is one of the 5 best college basketball coaches of all time. I will put him up.
So would that make Tom Izzo one of the 4 best coaches of all time?
Unfortunately, not.
Oh, so what are you trying to tell me, JJ?
I'm gonna put Bobby Knight ahead of Tom Izzo.
Okay. Even though Tom Izzo has been to the NCAA tournament ever since 1998.
At least I thought it was longer than that.
No, 1998.
Okay.
So he's been consistently been there. He's been there 30 years. 1998. He's
almost, yeah.
Bobby Knight that good?
Bobby Knight has.
Tom Izzo beat Bobby Knight head to head 5 times out of 9 games.
That's true. Bobby Knight went undefeated. He's the last coach from a major conference or from any conference to go undefeated from the first game of the season to the championship game.
Duke came that close to doing it.
Duke. I mean, Gonzaga came closer than Duke. Kentucky came closer than Duke.
That's true too.
Wichita State came close.
That doesn't count though. Close.
Yeah, no, it does not count.
So
Bobby Knight has done that. He's also won 3 times as many championships as Tom Izzo has.
Tom Izzo has won 1.
Which is 3 times less championships than Bobby Knight.
So how many has Bobby Knight won?
Well, for the math majors at home, Bobby Knight has won 3 championships.
Okay, and Tom Izzo won.
Yeah, at this point.
Okay.
And Bobby Knight's coaching tree is pretty unpenetrable when you consider that Coach K played and coached under him.
Okay, that's true. So you got Bobby Knight, one of the top 5 coaches, and you say he's better than Izzo. Where would you rank Izzo? Is Izzo one of the top 10?
I would probably put him in the top 10. Okay. He's definitely top 15. I mean, it's hard for me to assess coaches in the 70s and 80s. I didn't watch college basketball until the mid to late 90s. Okay. So it's really hard for me to judge coach from the 60s and the 50s and all that. Okay. But from what I've seen, yeah, he's definitely one of the 10 best coaches I've seen. And then you throw in John Wooden and Gene Cady and
Gene Cady. I'm not sure I would throw him in there.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Purdue has won the most Big Ten championships of any program of all time, but the random of any Big Ten program, but the randomness of the NCAA tournament, he's only went to 1 Final Four in 1980, and Gene Cady doesn't get the respect that he deserves. I think Gene Cady, he doesn't have the championships. He's the Dan Marino of college basketball to me, though.
Gene Cady, he was the assistant coach under Eddie Sutton at Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. And nobody had a comb over like Gene Cady.
Okay, JJ. Okay. I hear what you're saying. So Izzo still got some years left. Can he exceed Bobby Knight?
If he wins a couple more championships, he absolutely can.
So you count it based strictly on championships?
Not just strictly on championships. Okay. I think it's the contributions to the sport, what he's done for the guys that the guys that went through his program, how he developed Indiana, how he curated them and turned them into the bluest of blue bloods.
Okay.
A true blue blood, which I don't think Michigan State has hit that pinnacle yet. I do think Tom Izzo is ahead of the, like the Jim Boeheims of the world. I think he's ahead of John Calipari or people like that. But I think he knows the significance of winning 2 championships, which is why he stresses up. I mean, you can hear it in his voice when he talks about how important it is to him to bring another championship.
Does he have a chance this year?
Yeah, he absolutely has a chance this year.
Okay.
I think a lot of schools have a chance this year.
Okay. JJ, can we move away from basketball, or you got more basketball to talk about?
No, it's been 20 minutes. We can pivot to whatever you want to talk about.
This will be quick. It's February, JJ.
Black History Month.
It is. And you know what else it is?
It's for the lovers. It's Valentine's Day just passed 9 days ago.
You know what we're talking about? Sports, though. What it is in sports?
It's apparently baseball season.
It's baseball season. College baseball is underway. Arkansas is 4-0, and this Saturday they're hooking up with that team in Ann Arbor. What's the name of that team again?
Michigan Wolverines. I have no idea why they're playing baseball in February. College football season literally ended a month
outside,
ago.
JJ? Have you looked outside? Can you see the grass? It's baseball season. Arkansas's preseason is 5th in the nation, but also they're 4th in the SEC. So they're 5th in the nation, but 4th in the SEC. What does that mean?
It means there's one team outside the SEC that's in the top 5.
That's right. The Big Ten has
in the top 4.
The Big Ten has 2 teams in the top 25, Nebraska and Oregon.
Last year, they'd have one team in the top 25. Oregon wasn't in the conference.
This year's Nebraska. JJ, before we go really quickly, A&M won it all last year. They're rated number 1 again this year. Can they repeat? The last team to repeat in baseball was South Carolina in 2010 and 2011. Can Texas A&M make it a repeat?
Yeah, they could, but hopefully they don't.
Okay. Well, JJ, that's it. We will talk more baseball as it goes, and we will definitely talk more basketball as the madness begins to stir a little more. But other than that, JJ, I'm out of here.
All right, let's go.
WPS, Wool Pig, Suey. All right. That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Okay.